7:40, and there's certainly a difference between proposing something as a potential political candidate and navigating it when you're in office. That is especially true when you become mayor of a city now facing a nearly $1 billion budget gap. So ahead of the mayor's much anticipated budget address today, Joe Ferguson, president of the Civic Federation, is here to talk about where we go from here. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope the city will be soon. Already this morning, Mayor Johnson has launched a new transparency website to show this road to recovery plan, and all the talk really as the week began surrounded the possibility of property tax hikes that the mayor explicitly said he was against when he campaigned. Also, on Tuesday, a group of aldermen sent a letter to the mayor signaling they were rejecting that, but they also called for some things that would require money. Do you think there's a way around tax hikes?
There's not a way around the sacrifice, and you know what? It's a really terrific question that you ask there, in the framing of it. In Chicago, we're used to working our way around our structural issues and problems. This time, we have to be very transactional because we haven't done the work in the last year to prepare us to face a budget that we actually projected a year ago. But we can set the table for the year ahead to actually put us in a position where we're not working around these things anymore, but we're working through them. So I remain hopeful, but immediately we have some very, very hard work to do to get from here to a balanced budget by the end of the year.
Oh, I like what you said as well there. So how do we avoid kicking the can down the road?
So the thing is avoiding kicking the can down the road means that we approach budgeting from a year-round exercise rather than just a short cycle, month-long, and in the context of hearings, just a couple of weeks-long examination of costs. What we need to do is undertake studies that are long promised and never actually done, and to the extent they're actually done, never are public-facing, around how to be more effective and efficient with the resources that we have, how to determine things like how we use technology to actually not just perform the same services, but better services with less resources, to examine what our actual workforce and staffing allocation needs are. That has not been done in a citywide fashion. We talk about it with respect to CPD because, and rightfully so, because CPD performs the most important function and is about 40% of the operating budget of the city, at least the corporation budget. But we need to be doing these studies now for next year. Right now, there's going to be a lot of sort of transactional one-time things that are done. Unfortunately, in the messaging that we have seen thus far, first, there was a hiring freeze with respect to trying to whittle down the current year deficit because we still have a deficit for this year. And then the lead for this budget cycle is property taxes. And the Civic Federation has issued a report that says that actually should be the last resort, because there's a whole lot of things that we can do before we actually go to that well, which is already a well that people are feeling and really only have so much in the way of resources to draw upon again.
Absolutely. Let's go into that, because we know this isn't a problem that necessarily started with Mayor Johnson. There were issues before, but as you alluded to, money is tight for both people and programs. So where do we look to make cuts? Or if it does come to hiking property taxes, how much would we have to raise them to kind of turn things back right side up?
So if we started with property taxes and didn't do much else, it would be a figure that none of us have ever seen before.
Oh.
It's almost certainly the case, and I think I saw some media reporting that said the sort of the lead in the sort of the tease for this budget was property taxes and a TIF sweep. Everyone should understand the size of the TIF sweep is the size of something that is a one-time fix for this budget. Doesn't move the ball forward for future years. But things like we carry 2,500 to 3,000 vacancies on the books year to year to year. And in a budgeting context, that means you have to find revenue for those vacancies. Many of those vacancies haven't been filled for a while, aren't going to be filled. So we should just be honest about the fact that we're not going to deliver services that are implied by that level of staffing, and just say, no, we're not going to hire, if there's 2,500 vacancies, we're not going to hire 1,500 of them this year. That doesn't mean cut them, although you could cut them. That would be the cleanest thing to do, but that's going to set off a whole bunch of political sort of wrangling, institutional political wrangling, both in the council and with unions. But what you can do is put an entry on the books that says, no, we are simply not going to utilize these positions. And by that move alone, as an accounting matter, you eliminate about $150 to $200 million that are on the books, and you reduce the deficit by that amount. TIF sweeps are something that we've been doing for a very long time. We're certainly going to do it again. Hopefully, we're doing it mindful of the fact that money actually is supposed to be dedicated to reinvestment in our communities, economic development. And so every time we sweep, we are, in a way, using money that we are supposed to be using for our future.
Yeah, sweeping away some things that we actually need. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. This second budget for Mayor Johnson, certainly a big challenge. Like you said, it's a lot of hard work for everybody. We'll see what he has to say later today when he addresses this hole that we're in. Thank you so much, Joe.